Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us. My name is Tawana Rivers. I'm your Chief Operating Officer here at the 10K Project, and we are here with Gary from Bison Venture Partners to share an amazing campaign with us. And we are so glad that all of you came and joined us again this week. I'm going to pull up the campaign page so that we can show you the campaign. This campaign is on WeFunder. I won't spend a lot of time here because you guys are very familiar with WeFunder campaigns. It is one of the equity crowdfunding platforms that we visit most often. This campaign is minimum to invest is $100. The campaign has raised from 196 people, $63,760. This is a revenue share deal. So Gary, when you give your presentation, if you could talk a little bit about what that looks like. I think this might only be maybe the third revenue share model that we've seen. So be able to talk a little bit about that. Also, there are some investor perks. You guys know I always say it, so I'll say it again. Read the entire campaign page. The founders put a lot of time and energy into making sure all the information that's listed here is valuable to you and it makes sense for you to read it all. If you have any additional questions that you don't get to ask tonight, we've got the Ask a Question section, right? That's the section that actually the regs require all portals to have available so that potential investors like you and I have a place to ask our questions and get answers, and that the rest of the investors can actually see the questions and answers so that there's full disclosure and transparency. And so based on that, please spend some time on this page. I always like to see, when I scroll, I see how interactive the founder has been. As you can see, as I scroll, Gary is responding to people's questions. And so that's good. Y'all know sometimes we open this and you'll see questions and no responses. And that's when I scroll real fast. But, but Gary is responding to his founders. So great job with that, Gary. Okay, that said, I'm going to stop sharing. And Gary, I'm going to turn it over to you. Thank you so much for joining us this evening.
Thank you so much, Tawana, for the opportunity. I'm grateful to be here with all of you amazing investors. I'm really proud to be joining this community in general. So hopefully something about our company resonates with you all. I'm going to be sharing our pitch deck in a second here, but just grateful to share the opportunity with other like-minded individuals, fellow investors as well. And I'm going to go ahead and get into this. Also, shout out to everybody who's tuning in from Philly. I live in West Philadelphia. My family's from Philly, so shout out to the 215.
We all just sang the Will Smith song, didn't we? West Philadelphia, born and raised. Didn't we all do that? Was that just me that did that in the head?
That's all right. That's all right. Okay, so here, get into it. Alrighty. Can you see my slides okay? Okay, perfect. Good evening again, everyone. My name is Gary Johnson III. I am the founder and CEO of a new company called Bison Venture Partners, where we are built on the principle that if you want to go fast, you go alone, but if you want to go far, you go together. And I am honored to have the opportunity to tell you about our $250,000 community round, which we are raising on WeFunder today to raise our startup funds for our new company. Now, a little bit about myself. I received my master's in entrepreneurship and design from the University of Delaware. And after graduating from UD, I founded a nonprofit called First Founders, Inc., where we are on a mission to build a more equitable and inclusive startup ecosystem. So with the work that we do, we build accelerator programs, organize pitch competitions, and really create the foundational opportunity for early stage entrepreneurs and founders to get the knowledge and access to resources they need to build a successful startup. So I founded that back in 2019. And since then, we've scaled up from launching with just a 8-person cohort in Delaware to now supporting a global community of over 300 founders. And we have helped them raise over $500,000 in non-dilutive funding, in addition to partnering with Google, IBM, Techstars, and amazing other programs and initiatives that exist, but have struggled to support and fund underrepresented founders that look like us. So we do that work out of the kindness of our hearts for the most part. That is a nonprofit. But after jumping into this space and realizing that this is what I'm truly here to do in life, I wanted to double down on my education and position myself to be the best entrepreneur supporter and investor that I could be. So since then, I have received a certificate in franchise management from the University of Louisville. I've recently received a certificate in venture capital from VC University, and I'm currently getting my MBA at the illustrious Howard University in Washington, DC. And that is the origin story of Bison Venture Partners. So when I was in orientation a year ago, literally a year ago, this time, I was sitting in orientation and getting to know all of my fellow classmates on campus. And we were all on that campus going to get our MBAs because we wanted to be business leaders. We wanted to be change agents in our communities. And we wanted to be the change as opposed to just complaining about the problem. But as entrepreneurs, we know that we have to build our foundation on the problems that exist. So when we started researching, we found reports from Morgan Stanley and McKinsey that tell us that investors report capitalizing multicultural and women-owned businesses at 80% less than businesses overall, and that this lack of investment represents a $4.4 trillion missed opportunity. So what that means is there's $4.4 trillion, which could be going into our communities, into stimulating our economies, but it is not because investors are failing to invest in companies founded by people who look like all of us on this Zoom call right now. Now, the reality about this data is that if we were to actually create an equitable economy where multicultural founders could receive the access to capital that they need, this will create a more dynamic and resilient economy for all Americans. So it's in the benefit of all of us to make sure that anyone, regardless of their socioeconomic status, can receive the resources they need to build their small business, to build their technology startup, and to invest in the same companies that come out of their communities. So we as Bison came together and we founded a company. We said, you know what, we could keep doing what we're doing, which is operating our own individual businesses or volunteering here, you know, in a piecemeal fashion, or we could come together as a collective and we can build a business together as part-time students and full-time professionals and entrepreneurs to say, you know what, we can build the foundation today. And by the time we graduate, we'll be doing this full-time and we would have started to create the impact that we want to see in the world. So these are my team members, my co-founders, and this is my family. And together, we decided to tackle these problems about a lack of access to capital head on. So we built a framework that involves and revolves around creating, scaling, and investing in a more equitable future. So the first pillar there is to create new businesses, high quality jobs, and ownership opportunities within our communities. From there, we want to help scale those new businesses through access to capital, technology adoption, and strategic partnerships. And then finally, we want to invest and reinvest in our community through community rounds, such as campaigns on WeFunder, Republic, Star Engine. You all know the deal there. In addition to angel syndicates and venture capital funds. So that's our framework. And we set some lofty goals. So over the next 10 years, we want to achieve these 4 goals. The first is to educate 10,000 new angel investors. And I'm sure you all can resonate with that goal as well. But it's really important for us to make sure that everyday people in our communities understand the importance of building up an investment portfolio, which includes private companies. And it would be even better if those private companies are the same companies that are founded by multicultural entrepreneurs, the founders that are coming out of our community. So we make sure that those dollars circulate. Additionally, we want to support 1,000 women-owned businesses specifically. We want to help create 1,000 new jobs. And the big goal is we want to source $100 million in capital to Black-owned businesses over the next 10 years. So these are very lofty goals, but we have already built out 4 different revenue streams, which are diversified, and we are executing on each of them today. So our 4 revenue streams involve management consulting, where we focus on advising and consulting with technology startups and small businesses. We also are building out a marketplace, which is focused on HBCU students and alumni, which we see as an untapped opportunity. We have started to build out a media and marketing arm, which is our way to develop content and help founders who are actively raising and need the publicity to get the eyes on their campaigns, on their products that they need, and to educate the general community about what it means to be an entrepreneur and what it means to be an investor. And then lastly, our fourth pillar revolves around investing through the private market. So today, we primarily focus on Reg CF deals. So these are the community rounds that you see on WeFunder, Republic, and Start Engine. We really want to help the entrepreneurs that we are advising to understand that raising from your community is something that can be a game changer if you have traditionally or historically struggled to raise the capital that you need for your business. And we all know the statistics, right? Black-owned businesses and women-owned businesses are receiving less than 2% of the VC dollars that are out there. But with community rounds, we can tap into our communities to raise the dollars that early stage startups need to grow. So we focus on helping those same companies that we advise to get on a campaign. And then we want to make sure that we do everything in our power to amplify those campaigns and to make sure that our community is an educated one, similar to the one that's here. Now, to also educate our community, we use platforms like King's Crowd, which is basically the Bloomberg of the private market. So every single Reg CF deal that's on any platform is being listed on King's Crowd. And not only can an investor go there to do their due diligence and to see a ranking from analysts, professional financial analysts, they can also manage their portfolio. They can track it over time, right? So we want to make sure that our community is aware of the tools that are out there so that they can truly invest like a venture capitalist, truly invest like a traditional angel investor, even if you're starting small with $100 here and there in different campaigns. And then finally, we're also premium buyers on a platform called MicroAcquire. So that's an additional revenue stream for us where we're looking at deals which are startup companies that have listed their companies for sale. And this allows us to basically purchase an existing business that is generating revenue. It has cash flow today. And our vision for this is to actually build out a startup studio where HBCU students can get hands-on experiential learning with entrepreneurship without having to found their own company from scratch. We can provide these students, these entrepreneurs, aspiring entrepreneurs, the foundation, the education about what it means to grow a startup, about what it means to add value to that startup, but we provide the infrastructure where the startup already exists. And there are options for us to, of course, continue building those startups and retaining that revenue over time, or we could also list those startups for sale if someone else might be interested in merging with them or acquiring them. So these are our four main revenue streams. And just to break that down a little bit more, here are a few of our current clients and customers. We focus right now on supporting Black-owned businesses and women-owned businesses. So CeraVe is a company based in Delaware. They create vibrating therapeutic apparel for amputees. So amputees struggle from a syndrome which is called phantom limb pain. So even though their limb is not there anymore, they still experience this pain as if it were there, right? It's a very unique situation. It's a very unique experience. But the founder is a brilliant Black woman by the name of Amira Idris, and she has invented a technology that solves this problem, right? And she has struggled to raise VC, but we have seen her grow over the last several years, and we want to help her raise money from her community, right? We are her first investor, actually. So we got her set up on a campaign to do just that. HX Innovations is another one. They have invented a technology. They're also coming out of an HBCU, Delaware State University, and their technology helps athletes prevent injuries through data analysis, through machine learning, right? So it's a very important tool that coaches, that athletic trainers and directors can implement to make sure that their athletes are performing at their peak performance and avoiding any injury that can set the team back. And then just the other two, so another one is called Kitty Credit. They teach kids how to build credit through doing chores. And it's a really cool platform because it's the team is a dynamic team, two Black individuals, and they're based in Miami. But what we see this is fintech for good. This is the first step in building generational wealth. It's making sure that young people have the financial literacy that they need, and they're set up from that young age, and it creates a pipeline for them as they grow. So making sure they have a strong foundation, and then the platform partners with different banks and things like that to make sure that as they sort of age out of the platform, they're set up financially. So that's a company that we actually have been building a relationship with, and we sourced their deal. They're raising a $1.5 million round. We introduced them to a venture capital firm in Philadelphia, Black-owned venture capital firm. And that venture capital firm ended up investing $100,000 into the round. So Bison Venture Partners is actually receiving carried interest in that deal. So if Kitty Credit is to become acquired, if it is to have some form of an exit for the company, that is when, of course, investors get repaid, paid back their multiple, and Bison Venture Partners is receiving, potentially will receive carried interest in that deal. So that's one way that we do what we call being VC-ish. So even though we're not managing a venture capital fund today, we're able to add value to startups, connect them with the sources of capital that they need, and make sure that we own equity in those deals as well. And then the last company, just to shout them out, they're not yet live on WeFunder, but Black and Mobile is based in Philadelphia, and they are the largest, and I would say probably the fastest growing Black-owned food delivery platform. And they've been killing the game, absolutely crushing it throughout the pandemic. And I'm really excited for them to launch hopefully on WeFunder as well. But these are companies that we're proud of, companies that we have real relationships with, and companies that we have partnered with, again, to be investors in the long term. So that is the one pillar of our company. And then, as I mentioned, we also have relationships with the various equity crowdfunding platforms that are out there. So with WeFunder, right, like being able to not only refer a startup to the platform and receive a referral fee, but also being able to offer a discount to founders that want to raise on these platforms is important, right? So we have that relationship with WeFunder. In addition to being able to offer the founders a discount on the platform, the founders also receive more hand-holding and support with their storytelling, with their campaign, than a startup that just sort of applies off the street, right? So we're able to make that connection to WeFunder. And then again, since we're raising on WeFunder as well, we have insights and strategies that we can help implement with the startups we consult with as well. I believe I've already mentioned King's Crowd and MicroAcquire, but again, these are all sort of strategic platforms that we look at and leverage to make sure that we build a diversified portfolio and various ways to add value to the startups that we support. Now, when it comes to media and marketing, this is where we get to have a lot of fun with the content that we put out. Everybody on this call, I'm sure, is aware that equity crowdfunding is very new, right? Everyone doesn't know what it is. They don't really trust it to the fullest extent, and they shouldn't necessarily just trust it, right? But it's going to take more of us creating content, creating educational experiences and edutainment that resonates with our community members, so that they see themselves as investors now, right? So these are three of our series that we're building out. The first is called Around the Herd. Around the Herd is with Bison Venture Partners. We invite founders that we've invested in, we're consulting with, or who are just in our community who we think could benefit from some extra shine, right? And we want to create that platform just to invite our community on to our app, which is called the Herd app, where we go live every Thursday. And we just interview entrepreneurs. We talk about startups. We talk about investing. We break down terminology. And it's just a way for us to, one, build community, also build trust. And in today's age, content is king. So it allows us to have content consistently that we can chop up into different segments and post. And again, the real main goal in this for founders is to create another value add for them. So helping them get out there and tell their stories to the general public. The Ghetto VC is another take on our media and marketing. And that's actually a book that I'm writing, publishing through Bison Venture Partners. But it's a guide to investing like a venture capitalist, even if you have minimum resources, right? Minimal resources. So again, just creating opportunities that resonate with our community. It's not to say that anybody in our community is ghetto, but making it accessible, making it relatable, and having fun with that content along the way. And then the last piece there is called VC-ish. That is a series that's in development, but it's a spin on Black-ish, right? But again, we question ourselves. We say, how can we create content that educates our community, that isn't boring, that resonates with them, and that, you know, they want to keep coming back every week. They want to see the next episode. They want to keep learning and growing. So we really look at platforms like Earn Your Leisure as sort of what we're getting at with our different content series here. And then the last piece is our marketplace. So we actually started as an idea where we said, you know what, let's get a vending machine and put it on campus, right? And it wasn't just any vending machine. We had actually invested in Popcom, which you may be familiar with, but it's a Black woman founded company. She invented this smart automated robotic storefront. And you know, for us, we also want to think about not only how do we invest in companies, but how do we also be their customers, right? So we said, okay, we invested in the company, let's buy a machine, right? And let's buy a machine, let's put it on Howard's campus, and let's create an opportunity where HBCU students and alumni can sell their products on an HBCU campus, right? And then, you know, stressing that out a little bit further, what if we were able to hire undergraduate students on the campus to actually manage that machine, right, as their own mini franchise and give them experience of learning in that way? These are the things we think about. And that's where we started. In entrepreneurship, you hit roadblocks and things like that. And unfortunately, Pepsi has an exclusive deal to vend on Howard campus. So we're actively looking for other locations to place our first machine. We did put a deposit, but it most likely will not be placed on Howard University to start. But we're actually and actively still working on that. So we decided to shift to an e-commerce marketplace. So it's called HBCU Market. And it's the same concept. Can we create a platform that allows us to help students and alumni launch their new ventures and also amplify their existing businesses? So HBCU Market is a Shopify store that can integrate with other Shopify stores. What that means is if there's an HBCU alumni who went to Prairie View or North Carolina A&T or Morehouse, right, and they have their own store set up on Shopify, HBCU Market can actually integrate with their back end and pull the inventory and basically sell it on our front end without us having to manage any of the inventory. So we see this as becoming like an Amazon of all HBCU affiliated products, right? So again, creating value for our community and also showing the general public, right? Whether you went to an HBCU or not, you can still buy these products, right? But we do want to tell that story about the potential and the real entrepreneurs, successful entrepreneurs that are coming out of these universities, because those stories are not told every day, right? And we want to inspire other students that, hey, like you can do this too. You can be an entrepreneur. You can go to an HBCU. You can launch your own business and be successful, right? Because the education, the network that you're getting from these campuses is incredibly valuable. So HBCU Market is live today. If you visit www.hbcu.market, you can check it out. It is still in its beta mode. So we're selling our own proprietary products, which includes our own coffee line. So you'll see on there, we have a Bison breakfast blend as well as a concrete cowboy blend. So we've partnered with 2 different roasters to sell that coffee made to order. So if you do decide to order some coffee today, it is roasted to order. So you'd receive it in about 3 to 5 business days. And the Bison breakfast blend is the fan favorite right now, but my personal favorite is the concrete cowboy blend. But it's also another way for us to build relationships with our communities who may not yet be comfortable with investing in a startup, right? But they buy our product, they try the coffee, they love it, and then we follow up and we say, hey, if you love that coffee, you can invest in the company that produces that coffee, right? And it just creates this spiraling effect from there. And that's been working for us so far as well. Now, in addition to that, and lastly, we have built a lifestyle and apparel brand called We Black Unicorns. And a unicorn is $1 billion company, right? So in the technology space, every investor is looking for their next unicorn, right? They want that multi-billion-dollar exit. And we specifically want to highlight individuals in our communities to make them feel like Black unicorns, right? To make them feel like, you know what, I can build a successful company. I can build a technology company. I can raise venture capital. I can be a VC, right? So with all of our content and marketing that we do, we have merchandise and apparel that relates to all of those things as well. So blackunicorns.store is the website where you can visit. If you visited hbcu.market today, you would see Black Unicorns featured on there as well. in addition to several other HBCU affiliated founders who have their own successful brand set up. We just do not yet have the link to integrate with their inventory. So when we close our campaign, that is a technology product that we would be investing in to make sure that we can continue to build out this marketplace and make it a seamless customer experience. Now, lastly, these are just some revenue projections. They're listed on our campaign page, but we really want to get started by launching the marketplace first. So we've been raising since April of this year. The marketplace has no paid ads that have been run to drive traffic to the site just yet. We've primarily been focused on fundraising since April. So we may not officially get to launch the marketplace until about mid-2023, but these are our target revenue projections. So this is inclusive of launching the e-commerce platform, being able to integrate with other existing Shopify stores, as well as placing our first 2 to 3 automated retail machines. So actually placing those vending machines out in the wild, for lack of a better term. And this is our first round of financing. We have been bootstrapping this company to date since launching it a year ago, putting in our personal funds, and really launched a campaign, a testing the waters campaign on WeFunder to see if this was something our community will be interested in supporting. And I'm just grateful for all of the support we've gotten to date. We were able to file our Form C with the SEC and make it an official raise. And I really just, I want to say thank you to anybody if you're on this Zoom right now, if you've already invested, because it's inspired us to keep going and really realize that, you know what, we can do this. And this is a venture we want to do full time. So without your help, we would not be able to. But if you want to learn more about the investment terms, Tawana did mention them at the beginning, but they are listed on our campaign page. The minimum investment is just $100. And we generate revenue today through several different revenue streams. But again, we are a startup and we need your help to keep building. We have started to lay the foundation, but we want to close this round strong at the end of this month and keep working diligently to provide a return on investment and make our community proud. So with that, I want to say thank you. And if you don't already have the link is wefunder.com/BisonVP. Appreciate you for checking us out.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you so much, Gary. Guys, go ahead and put your questions in the Q&A so that we can read them to Gary and get some answers. I just want to say, so for those who have been in this community for a while, you guys, I'm sure, immediately could see how what Bison Venture Partners resonated with me, because it's very in line with what we're doing here at the 10K Project. I mean, we are supporting Black founders who are struggling to get the capital that they need so that they can go on to do amazing things with these innovative ideas they have, right? And doing that, you know, Gary's doing that through consulting with founders, doing some of that with consulting with founders and helping them through their equity crowdfunding raise. You know, we're bringing part of the crowd to that raise, so we're in line there. And then I absolutely love what Bison Venture Partners is doing around the buying of businesses and all of that, having just started a micro private equity firm myself, and really helping founders be able to, or excuse me, helping investors be able to invest in businesses passively, but also considering buying some of these cash flowing businesses where, you know, for what I'm working with are really those businesses where the founders have run these businesses for years and years and years, and now they're retiring. And so I love how in line we are. It just made sense to bring Gary here to talk to you guys. I mean, he's taking it to the next level, right? He's taking what we do today and take it to the next level. And I love that he's, one of the goals of the company is to have 10,000 angel investors, right? To educate 10,000 angels. And I know Jessica had a question in the chat, which I thought was a really good question. Is, you know, you're looking to educate 10,000 angel investors, but an angel investor, you know, by definition does have some requirements that are very specific. And how do you plan to educate, you know, everyday investors in addition to the angel investors?
Yeah, no, that is a great question. Thank you, Jessica. We are a bit rebellious in the sense that we consider everyone to be an angel investor. So if you're a crowd investor, we consider you to be an angel. And if you look at the terminology used on platforms like WeFunder, they call crowd investors angels as well. So we really want to change that narrative, right? I think the official term I would say is accredited investor. Angel investor is, sort of like what we use more regularly. But we want to change it. We want the official definition of angel investor to be anyone that invests in a private company. And, I think it also gives our community a lot of pride to feel like an angel investor, right? Like it's a whole mindset shift that you get when you make your first investment. You're like, oh, I literally thought only rich people could do this, right? And the reality is that's not the case. The reality is the same deals that are on WeFunder and Republic and Start Engine are high quality deals that are venture backable. Not all of them, of course, but more and more startups that are VC backed are raising to, I love the chair of investors. More and more VC backed startups are allocating a portion of their rounds to the community, right? So we're all investing alongside traditional angel investors, traditional venture capitalists. Our money is going to the same company, right? So I don't see any reason why we shouldn't go by the same name. And, it's a deeper conversation, but hopefully the SEC, officially changes the rules at some point.
Right,
And
that part.
yeah,
That
because
part.
they are certainly outdated. But again, this is, through the 10K project, right? This alone, like you're creating new angel investors, and we're on that same mission. So I'm again grateful to be here and thankful for any other questions.
Very good. And you're absolutely right. I mean, the landscape is changing. 3 years ago, having a conversation about equity crowdfunding, is very different than having it today.
Yeah.
VCs are heavily watching this space. I mean, we had Arlen Hamilton came here to pitch with us, a 10K project
amazing.
months ago. How
Wow.
amazing was that, right?
That is incredible.
And that she found value in this community to come and for her, for her raise. And so we know that this industry is only going to continue to advance, right? Which is why I love what you're doing, because one of the things I hear from founders is the support is not there for them when they go on the equity crowdfunding platforms, right? So being able to have professional consultation, and actually from a company who's gone through it, right? Even so, to be able to have Bison Venture Partners walk them through that process and help them, that is going to add just a layer of ease, because so many founders don't continue the process because it's just so complex. That's what we hear all the time is, I'm just going to let the campaign go because I don't have the time to do it, is what we hear. And nor do I understand how to navigate it. And all portals are not created equal, right? So some do more hand holding than others. Some, kind of walk you through the process and make it easy, and others not necessarily. And so I think what you're doing with that arm of the company is going to be so valuable. And I hope that, you bring some of your founders back to 10K so we can help them, bring some of the crowd to their campaign as well. But it's definitely necessary. This is the way we're going to close the wealth gap a bit, right? And I always say, I don't, it's not impossible, but I don't see the equity and crowdfunding investments that I make as something that's going to make me $1 million, right? But I do see it as something that's going to make me enough to be able to then up my ante in other investment opportunities, right? So then maybe I can buy that business, or maybe I can invest in something else, I think that's the way to look at it. And it's only going to strengthen the model as we can get more and more Black founders getting the support they need. Because even on the equity crowdfunding portals, we hear from founders that, their campaigns are not being seen. We even have founders that say, some portals give you the minority tag that you can put on it. I have founders saying, I don't want to put the tag on my campaign. I said, you got to put the tag because that's how I'm going to find you, right? Because I'm looking for you, right? Yeah. But then you see some that say, I don't want to put the tag because I just want anybody to see me. I don't want them to know I'm a minority before they click on and look at the amazing idea I have, right? So even in this space, the challenges we face as people of color is real. Like it goes everywhere we go, right? We can't escape it. It's everywhere.
It's everywhere, yeah. And we still do it with a smile, but it is hard. It has been hard raising this first round. It's a relatively small amount of money we're raising, right? We're grateful to have gotten this far. We're gonna keep pushing too. We're gonna do future raises as well and get even better at it. But no, you're right. Like the same obstacles exist, the same racism exists. The questions we get are just like not the same questions that other people get. And, but again, I mean, that inspires us to do what we do because we see the value in our community. And to that point, so I did want to just share a link to the episode we just did last week with HX Innovation.
Nice.
Because Tawana, you had mentioned, just adding value to those startups, helping them get set up on a campaign. And Nicole, the co-founder of HX, literally says in that interview, like, thank you to Bison Venture Partners. We call ourselves BVP for short, but like, thank you to BVP for, believing in us, believing that we can do this thing and not being like other investors who say they're going to help, but don't actually. Like, we're literally like, we're in it with you. We want to create as many touch points for you to get with the community, and we're your biggest advocate. So I just wanted to share that like in there. And then just one other thing before I think the next question. You mentioned Arlen, and I love Arlen. She is amazing, and she's part of my success story. I won't tell the full story, but I ended up investing my stimulus check into Backstage Capital when they launched on Republic back in, was it 2021? I think it was 2021.
2021. Yeah.
I don't know. Time is flying.
Yeah, we lost the whole.
We lost the whole.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Arlen was somebody who I've studied for years, and even before I got to meet her in person, I'm like reading her books, I'm listening to her interviews, and I'm modeling myself after her blueprint. So I ended up investing in her company.
Got it right here. I'm a fan.
Oh yes.
I'm
absolutely.
a fan.
I love it. I got the book. I got the magazine autographed, Fast Company magazine. I was able to pitch her at a HBCU VC competition in 2018. So pre-BVP, but it was at an HBCU. I was not attending an HBCU at the time, but it was in a space where I felt like I could present myself in a way that I could not at a PWI. And I could be true and authentic and say, this is what I'm building. It is for our people. I'm unapologetic about it. And didn't have to, ask for forgiveness. I didn't have to justify the solution. And I ended up winning the competition, which was amazing. And again, it just inspired me to keep going. So invested in Backstage Capital during their Reg CF round. That was my first crowdfunding investment.
Nice. Wow. And what a nice, exciting one to be a part of. What, 9 days? She raised, like crazy.
Yeah, she hit the first threshold, which was like $1 million at the time. You can only raise $1 million. She hit that like it was nothing. Then, or maybe was it 5?
No, it had just gone to 5.
Okay, then it went to 5. Okay, so it went to 5. She was able to open it up, and more people could get in. And I was just so like, it changed my mindset. Again, it changed my mindset to now be a stakeholder in a VC firm, right? After that campaign, she ended up launching an Investing as a Catalyst course.
She did. I
paid for that course. I'm like, I'm in, I'm doing it, I'm learning from the best. Did that. Then for graduates of that course, she offered an apprenticeship. I took advantage of the apprenticeship, and I got to literally work with Backstage Capital to be an apprentice with about 20 other apprentices across the country. And we got to learn the due diligence process. We got to screen applications for Backstage Capital. We were in the pitch meetings with startups. So like, I've literally seen how it works. And again, that has inspired me to say, you know what, we need to do it our own way, right? And Arlen is a huge advocate of that. She's like, I want to educate and empower as many people as I can, right? And it's all about how do we take that knowledge and education and amplify it in our own way and lift as we climb. So I just wanted to share that story because to be an apprentice at Backstage was so cool. And it was a volunteer thing. About halfway through, Arlen offered to pay us a check. I was like, okay, cool. I didn't think I was getting any money. But then towards the end, she said, you know what? I can pay you all a check, or I can pay you in equity in the company. And my whole mantra is pay me in equity. So you better believe I took equity. And it's been a beautiful ride. And again, the access we have gotten is like, all right, let's create more access for other people. So that's what we're up to.
Nice, beautiful, wonderful. I absolutely love that. Let's see what other questions we have. Bernard says, why is your payback so low at 1.25 times? Most successful start at least 1.4.
Great question. When we launched, again, we launched as a testing the waters campaign. We really weren't sure what terms to pick as like a consulting business, right? Like selling equity would be cool, but how do we set a valuation for a company? It's a brand new company, right? So we wanted to use the revenue share loan because it created an opportunity, as we see it, where since a lot of our community members are skeptical about investing, we can start repaying them. Like this is a way that we can repay them in the earliest way, right? So we'll literally start repaying investors next year, right? We're obligated to make quarterly repayments. Since we have 4 different revenue streams, we have 4 different ways to make money, right? So we're generating money today. The campaign page right now shows you 1.25x. The reality is that the first $50,000 raised, those investments receive a 2x return. So it was actually 2x. So we said, all right, we need to raise the minimum amount of money to keep anything. So let's set the goal to 50,000, and anybody that invests in that first 50,000 is going to get 2x, and hopefully that incentivizes people to not wait, because if they wait, they're going to get 1.25x. So that was our thinking there. Everything you see on the campaign page, all the testimonials and everything, we've been building as we have gone. So it did not look as exciting as it does today. But yeah, so that was the reasoning there. And we also, I'm not sure if anyone's invested since being on this call. Hopefully you have. I know at least one person did. But the reality is there's about $5,000, or excuse me. So our campaign page right now says about what, 63,000, I believe. The reality is only about 45,000 of that is confirmed and in escrow. So there are several investors who committed funds, and those funds are counted in the total, but they have not transferred funds. So anyone who invests today, you're still getting in for the 2x multiple. Just unfortunately, the platform is having bugs. We've reached out to try to get it fixed. Again, one of the issues we face while crowdfunding. But if you invest today, it's likely that you're counted in that 2x return. And then yes, everyone else who comes in after that 50,000, you're locked in for a 1.25x return.
So let me say that a different way. Anyone who invests today and completes the transfer process.
Make sure you connect your bank account.
Right.
Yeah. And make sure you link your card, your bank, whatever it is. This is also something we've learned, because when you do the testing the waters, those are non-binding commitments.
Right.
So there are several individuals who committed before we filed our paperwork. So they didn't have to connect their bank accounts. But today you have to connect your bank account.
Yeah. And we've been through that. We've educated the community on that, because once you file your Form C, now everyone has to recommit, right? Yeah. Because now it's official. And sometimes we hear founders saying getting people to recommit when they get the email to confirm everything is oftentimes a little challenging. Yeah. So that's very good information. Thank you for asking that question, Bernard, because that's important to know, right? Because if we get in, we want to get in at the 2x,
Absolutely,
right? We are an equity community, and in full disclosure, Gary, we like equity, right?
Oh, listen, so do I. I get it.
We like equity. So hopefully when you do the second round, there'll be an equity play as well. But 2x is not a bad thing at all.
We didn't think it was a bad deal. And I probably am not supposed to say, if we're raising, when we're raising, but we've learned a lot this campaign, and we plan on doing another one, bigger and better.
Nice. Very good. Larry says, with your management consulting, you can help founders set up their infrastructure as far as personnel is concerned. Or can you, excuse me?
Personnel, yeah.
Or personnel is concerned, yes.
Absolutely. We have fun with this. Like, we just really love supporting founders, and again, especially the ones that we can resonate with. So we have built out a platform. We haven't announced it yet, but it's called HBCU Careers. So it's a job board, it's a career page where the founders in our portfolio, in addition to other companies we have relationships with, can recruit talent from HBCUs, right? That's the goal of that platform. So you can actually visit it today, www.hbcu.careers, and you'll see several startups listed on there. I think there's like one large company, maybe a couple VC firms, but the goal is to expose our community of students, right, and recent alumni to these opportunities working at startups, right, working at small businesses that are founded by our community members, because there's so much talent. Like, this is why our company exists. Like, we're like, there's so much talent on this campus, and it's being lost to these big corporations that most likely do not value you in the way that you should be valued, right? So can we make sure that we build the infrastructure where we can get that talent funneled into companies that are coming out of those same communities? So that's one way that we do that. Another company, it's not listed on there just yet, but it's called Mocktail Club. Mocktail Club, I smile talking about them because they were one of the Black Ambition Prize winners. That's Ericka Williams' big pitch competition. They won a prize there last year. They are a non-alcoholic beverage company founded by a Black woman, Howard alum. Her name is Pauline Idoho, and she currently sells her products in Whole Foods. She's on Amazon. She's got her own e-commerce store. She's in 100 other independent retailers, but she's doing like all of this basically by herself, right? So that's another client we're working with today. And when she came to Philly, like here's another way that we just add value. She came to Philly for a big expo, a business expo for natural foods and products, where all the grocery stores and whatnot come to shop and figure out, all right, who are we going to stock this year or in the years ahead? And when I realized she was coming to Philly, it's like, hey, I'm in Philly. I took 3 days out of my week to just go and pour up her drinks as samples to everyone walking throughout the expo. And not only, was I able to just help her out in that regard, but it also has built a relationship. It again has shown that, wow, like you really do add value, right? Like now we're at a point where we're talking about helping her fundraise, right? And she trusts us to have those conversations. So she actually really wants to hire more students from Howard University, and she's an alum, but graduated many years ago, and again needs somebody on campus, the people with relationships, and that's where we come in. So we want to replicate that with other businesses as well.
There's a Black founder. Her name is Brianna Brazel, and she has a company called Culture Lancer, and she's doing gig work for the HBCU student. So I'm going to make an introduction between the two of you via email.
I just took her assessment.
Did you? Okay.
Yes, we got a meeting coming up. Yeah.
Awesome. Very, very good. And she's a wonderful young lady. I've spoken to her a couple of times, and absolutely amazing what she's trying to do. Yeah. So very, very good.
She's in we're in this HBCU Founders Initiative cohort together. So yeah, that's what it's all about. Us coming together, supporting one another. And with
so strong, like it's part of our strategy is really tapping into that and maximizing it in a way that others haven't. So if there are other founders that we should connect with, please let me know as well.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Eddie says, hi, Gary, your business is very impressive and packed with value-added offerings. The challenge of sufficiently progressing all of them concurrently has to be daunting. How will the funds from this raise be allocated among the four? And is there any one venture that takes precedence in terms of priority? Amazing collection, my brother. Bravo. Oh, did I freeze or did Gary freeze? Okay.
I am so sorry.
That's okay. That's okay. I wasn't sure if it was me or you.
No, it was me.
Okay.
That has never happened. My laptop literally just shut down. So I'm on my phone, but we are here.
Okay. So I'll read Eddie's question again.
Okay, thank
He
you.
said, your business is very impressive. It's packed with added value. The challenge of sufficiently progressing all of your offerings concurrently has to be daunting. How will the funds from this raise be allocated among the 4 tiers or pillars? And is there any one venture that takes precedence in terms of priority? And then he said, amazing collection, my brother, bravo.
Thank you very much. Yeah, so we've really strived to build a portfolio of revenue streams that are complementary. So for example, sorry, I'm just trying to make sure my phone doesn't fall over here. Or let me break this down first. So with our Black Unicorns brand, right, where we sell t-shirts and apparel, those are all print on demand. So the expenses associated with operating that business are very low. Like literally right now, all we have to pay for is our domain and connect it to a Shopify, or sorry, to a printing company's platform. And we've made all the designs ourselves, but we don't have to ship or fulfill any of the orders, right? So it makes it really easy for us to run that as a lean startup, right? So we believe in running this as a lean startup to get started. With all of our merch and apparel, we're actively marketing those things through our media and marketing arm. So on all of our shows, anytime we're interviewing someone, you're seeing our merchandise, our apparel, right? So it's integrated with the content that we're putting out there. When it comes to the other 2 that are directly connected, which is the consulting with startups and then our investment piece, we sort of start with the founder, right? Understanding their company and what their needs are. And then we determine, is the best route for them to feature them in our marketplace? If so, that's one route. Or is it to help them fundraise? And are they interested in raising from the community? If so, okay, let's get them set up on a campaign. So each piece is integrated with each other, right? They're all really connected. And it's right now, I'll say manageable, but we really want to be able to pay an individual to manage each individual piece, if that makes sense, right? So specifically having someone focusing on media and content production, specifically so myself, I would be the one focusing on onboarding founders, assessing their needs and figuring out what resources they need next, right? But then from there, since we've sort of started to build out this this template and playbook, and another team member can take it from there and make sure that they get plugged in with the right things. And we have a wide array of different partners we work with. So we're not doing all of the work with these campaigns. We can partner with other agencies to help amplify those campaigns as well. And in regards to use of funds, so when we started, we said, we wanted to buy a machine. So we're the main goal is to lease a machine, right, to get started. And there's actually an office space in Philadelphia that's interested in us placing a machine. They're actively looking for a vending machine. And we gave them samples of Mocktail Club, and they were like, this is delicious. This will be perfect here. So again, like that's the real goal, right? Is to like launch this physical marketplace because that was the first original idea. So we want to do that. We're going to lease the machine to start. We're not going to buy it outright because they are a bit pricey. The Popcom new machines, I believe, are about, the refrigerated ones might be about 7,000. So they are expensive, but we believe it's a worthwhile endeavor, considering not only do we generate revenue from selling products in the machine, but these machines have storefront reporting and advertising space. So we're able to sell ad space to external companies to promote their own products and services there as well. So I want to start with that. And then considering we do want to raise again, we will be allocating funds to that second raise.
Very good. Yeah, and we are familiar with Dawn Dixon and Popcom. She also came to pitch, and I'm a Popcom investor from her very first round. So seeing
Wow.
her raise now, I think this is her 5th time raising or 4th time, to see her, continue this journey is definitely a beautiful thing. And to see how the machines have advanced as well. Again, a wonderful, wonderful thing that she's doing. The analytics that come out of her machines are absolutely amazing.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. We were impressed as well. And again, like, it's just like thinking about that for every founder, even if we weren't the ones that got them set up on the campaign, like, how do we promote this product, this company? How do we make sure that they get the money they need, not just in fundraising, but in customers, right?
Right.
Revenue.
Yeah, that's exactly it. We talk about that all the time here too, is that, we are your everyday investor, but we're also your consumer.
Right.
And your walking billboard and all of the above, right?
That's it. That's it. That's it.
Lisa said, so given that you are connected to Howard University, will you guys offer something similar to what Arlen extended to you to train some of the investors who are interested in VC training?
Absolutely. Yes. So yes, absolutely. So if you visit www.theherd, THEHERD.app, that is our community platform. So that's where we go live with our community. So right now it's weekly on Thursdays to host Around the Herd. But we're going to be launching a course on there as well, right? So most likely it'll be like Saturday mornings, right? Like, learn the basics of startup investing. So that's absolutely in the roadmap. It is something that I talk about every day, all day. On our team, I'm the most, I'll say, VC savvy, right? That is sort of my area of expertise. So I'm even educating my team members, right? And being able to have these conversations with founders. And if anyone does watch the interview I posted in the chat, you'll see our team member, B Bass. He's based in Texas, in Irving, Texas. His background is sales, like, he's a sales guru. But he was also a D1 athlete. So in the conversation with HX Innovations, he really resonates with the problem they're solving, for one, and is actively, like, learning how to ask the right questions to a startup, right? And when it comes to, like, this due diligence process and understanding, how big is the market? Is this a good investment opportunity? And I think that's the best content to create, because then the community is learning alongside you, right? And you're not asking questions that, you're not asking questions in a way where it's like, all right, you already know the answer, right? So that's kind of our strategy there. But yes, content is king. So we'll be posting even more about angel investing and investing like a venture capitalist.
Nice. Giving back. That's awesome. All right. Any other questions, guys? Gary talked about, where they are with the campaign. I just reiterate that, and this is not just specific to Gary's campaign. Most campaigns work this way, right? So they have early bird terms, right? Gary's early bird term was 2 times, or 2x, and it's listed now as 1.25. But as Gary explained, and again, this is not unique to just this raise, there are times when people make the connection on the portal without attaching the payment method, and therefore the money is not in escrow, and it's not until that money is transferred to escrow that you have invested in that particular business. And so even though the campaign says that 63 has been raised, much of that, but think you said what, about $6,000 of that is not confirmed. Only about 45 of it is confirmed. Excuse me.
Correct.
Is what you
45
said.
is confirmed.
45,000 is confirmed, which means there's about 5,000 that is not yet confirmed, where if any of us invested this evening, then you could potentially get that 2x. Again, it is not financial advice, right? But we are telling you the facts of how the background of the campaign works, so that you can understand that. As you know, we are an education community, and we educate you about all things crowdfunding. So there's that back end piece, that administrative piece, right? That's the unattractive part of this process, right? That requires a lot of emails. And if any of you have ever either tested the waters and made the commitment, you've received the email. We've had Testing the Waters campaign, so I know many of you have received that. We've received the email saying this founder has now, or this company has now filed their Form C. Do you want to reconfirm? And if you usually just click the button, it takes you to your profile, and you kind of click it again, and then you're done, right? If you don't do that, then you're one of those lingering people out there that make the 45 versus the 63 that's showing, the reason it's there. So I say all of that to say there is possibly time for you to get in at that 2X if you decide after doing your due diligence that this campaign fits in your portfolio. If there are no questions, additionally, I will give you my final comments. It's not going to be new for anybody who's been here even one time. My spiel is the same, right? Because the mission here at 10K Project is the same. It's to help the Black founders get as many eyes on the campaign as possible for us as a community. We know that everyone is not able to show up to the live pitch on Tuesday night. So we're going to email this to every member so that they can have it in their email box in the morning, so that they can rewatch this and be able to make that determination for themselves. We're also going to put it in our newsletter, and we're also going to post it in across all of our social platforms. But that's still not enough, right? So that's fine that 10K is going to do that within our community, but that's not enough. So you are the pride and joy of this community, first of all, and it is only by you extending it to your network that these founders can get the maximum views. And that's the goal, right? So that everyone gets access to them so that they can make a determination on their own, right? This is not any one person saying, go out and get it. This is saying, watch it, do your due diligence, see if it fits in your portfolio, but it is only by exposure that our lives will change. And that I know to be true, right? It is only by us being exposed to these opportunities that we then get to decide if we take advantage of them or not. But if no one ever shares it with us, we don't even get to make the choice. And that's what we're trying to change here more than anything, is that everyone has access. And by you telling your network about this campaign is what is going to give them the opportunity to have access. And so with that said, please, please, please share it now on all of your social platforms. Call up your friends and say, hey, have you ever heard about this? If you're part of an HBCU, y'all should be doing backflips right now. Because, I mean, come on. That's amazing, all of the give back that's happening there. And so, please consider, go to that campaign page. If you think of questions, please ask questions. You saw that Gary's responding, he's answering questions, and then that'll allow any of us who go back to that page to see your question and answer, because we may have had the same question, or even better, we may not have thought about it, and it's an amazing question, and we really needed to be able to read the answer to that, because it may have been the barrier to entry that we had where you got clarity. So please definitely don't hesitate to ask your question. With that said, Gary, do you want to say anything in a closing remarks?
I feel like that was a mic drop moment. I'm inspired. So thank you, Tawana. Seriously, it is rare. Like, we've literally not had an opportunity to present to this type of group before. So grateful for that. Grateful for the authenticity, just like the great questions, the engagement of everyone. Even if you decide, the investment is not right for you, we'd love to connect with you. Still have you in our community as a, LinkedIn follower, a YouTube subscriber, whatever it might be. But we're absolutely building a community-based company. So we always say, join the herd. That's our slogan. So everybody that's an investor is a member of the herd. And again, we do believe that we're going to go further together. I did want to just quickly answer the 2X question. I dropped my email in the chat. If you are interested in investing, and want to make sure that you get the 2X. One, if you invest tonight, you will see it in the contract when you invest your amount. I also put my email, so you can email me and I can confirm that you're in for the 2X. If you aren't, for some reason, you can still cancel your investment, right? The money right now is only going to an escrow account. So before we close the campaign at the end of this month, you can still cancel. Right, you can still take that back, and there's no problem. I think there was just one other piece to that. If you invest, yeah, sorry. So if you just have in mind like a dollar amount that you want to invest, and you're curious if there's still an allocation for the 2X in our raise, just email me. And when I get back home tonight, I'll go through emails and let you know how much space is left to receive the 2X. Because again, it's not listed on the page. It says there's about 63,000 right now.
Very good. Thank you, Gary, for that extra step. That was very, very kind.
Of course. Thank you. No, thank you. Seriously, from the bottom of my heart, this was great. And that's it. I'm grateful. I'm glad I dipped out on this fancy dinner thing to come and speak with you all. So I do not regret it at all.
So you didn't get dressed up and you sharp as a tack for us?
Oh no, I got dressed for y'all. Trust me. Trust and believe. Trust and believe I got dressed for y'all. Because I won't say anything. They might be able to hear me. But no, this was great. I said, I got to show up. I got to show out. So again, I appreciate it and look forward to continued collaboration.
Absolutely. Again, there's definitely room for collaboration. I mean, you get ready to have some amazing founders come through your shop, and we want to help them meet some of those goals, right? And so we're here. We're not going anywhere. We are mission driven. The goal is for us is so that Black founders don't have to go into banks and beg. That's it. We don't write that on the slogan because that's not as sharp to say, but that's the bottom. We're tired of begging, right? That's the bottom line. That's why we do what we do here, is we're tired of having our people go begging for money for things that are more brilliant than any other ideas that walk into those establishments, only to be turned away because we don't look the way they need us to look. And so those days are over. We're tired of it. And we are here growing this community so that we can help and just do our small part and build wealth in the process, right? Because we believe that there will be a whole lot of unicorns. I believe, and I know my business partner, Cherie Warwick, believes that if people stop ignoring us, we will be the population of people and the innovative ideas that come out of this community will be the thing that make unicorns not so scarce, right? Because if you bring the right people to the table, you won't be so amazed when the unicorn happens because it's us. We're it. We're
Listen,
it.
Listen, the handle is We Black Unicorns. That is our merch and apparel. We literally incorporated Black Unicorns LLC for that exact reason. We said we are right here in plain sight. And it's just about making sure that our community members understand how to invest in our companies. And if you're not in our community, you can invest as well. We'd love to have you. But yeah, we're right here to your point. We just got to keep shining. So
that's it. With that said, everyone, good night, peace and blessings, and have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your week and an amazing evening. Okay.
Thank you all. Have a good night.
All right,
Thank you,
Gary, we'll be in touch.
All right, sounds good.
Okay.
Have a good night.
Bye-bye.